All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Behind the Book. My name is Miss Erica, the teacher lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Today, I have a beautiful special guest. I would like to introduce you all to my daughter. She is going to be joining me in today's Behind the Book review. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
My name is Ari, and I'm so happy to be here.
Let's do it. So all this week, we are talking about immigration. Do you know what immigration is, Addie? So immigration is the process of going from one country to another country. What country do we live in?
United States.
You got it. The United States of America. What's another country that's not the United States of America?
Mexico.
In today's Behind the Book, we are going to be talking about, can I see the book? The Home We Make. Now, this beautiful book, we were allowed to share it by the author. We were so excited to read it. So if you have not done so yet, be sure to watch the read aloud, then come right back here for this segment of Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. So in today's episodes, we are going to be sharing
grows, the thing that we love, the things that we wish there was little more of.
We tell them the glows, the things that we loved, the grows, the things that we think could have been a little bit better. We also tell them a summary in our own words and who this book is best meant for, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing all of that and more, all in this review of Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages. What we do, girl?
To get to the heart of the story.
To get to the heart of the story. So before we even get into the summary, Addie, I just want to know, because Addie's not going to be with us the whole episode, but you are going to be with us for this part. So I want you to tell me, what do you think about this book?
I think it's good, and I also think it's a little bit sad. It's kind of like how Black people were treated, but not quite.
Okay.
Like, they're making war, but they didn't even know. They don't know what's going wrong. They don't know what's the matter with them. They are just being a family.
Okay.
So I think that's sad. And then they had to go through the journey, like, to get a home. Like, it had to do a couple of days, and I can't imagine that happening to me. So I think it might be a little sad for them.
Would you recommend it to other children?
Yeah, I think it will be good for children who have, like, lost their homes, lost something very special to them. They can, like, actually see that this has happened to other people before, so they don't feel like that they're all left alone or like a missing puzzle piece.
Yeah, so good representation, right? Okay, and what did you learn from the story?
I learned that not all people have a life like me. Not all people wake up in the morning and get breakfast from their father. Not all people wake up in the morning in a house. Not all people wake up in the morning and healthy. Not all people wake up in the morning and getting ready for their day. Not all people even have a room.
Yeah. So you learned that we all have different experiences.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Addie, for joining us. I appreciate your time. And would you be joining us again, you think?
Yes.
I think so, too. Say bye.
Bye, everybody.
So The Home We Make is really a autobiography. I would definitely classify it as her sharing her story. It is this almost like reflection on how she came to the United States with her family, and it goes through the emotional details of what that process looked like. Overall, this story is going to give you a clear picture as a child or as an adult of what it could mean to be a refugee and to make a new life in a new country. So I appreciate the honesty in this book. So the takeaway message is truly that we all, Addie said it, we all have different beginnings. We all have different life stories. A lot of times we pass judgment on people. We have a belief about somebody without truly understanding their background or who they are or where they've come from. I believe that the overall takeaway message is that we are all just trying to find home and to not be so hurtful or judgmental because you don't even know a person's beginnings. I think that there are a lot of takeaway messages. One, there is power in sharing your story. This book is really special because I am at a school that has a huge immigrant population, a school that has a huge refugee population. Those are not synonyms for each other, but a school that is filled with people from diverse backgrounds, from diverse countries. And oftentimes, when we talk about immigration, there is a one sided assumption. And a lot of times, that assumption is colored in this way of negativity, right? So, all this week, as we're talking about immigration, in my research, I recognize how many people are not supportive of that process. And I believe one of the take home messages from this book is humanizing that experience. This is me. This is my family. This was my home. It was destroyed. At one point in the book, I really appreciate that somebody threw a brick through her window telling her to go home, and her family picked the brick up. They made it into a candle holder, and in the story she shares, like, I want to, baby, I don't want to be here. This ain't my first choice either, but it was not safe for me at home. And I think so often when we talk about children's books, we shy away from the truth, right? And as an author, my book sometimes can be surprising because I don't do that either. She does not shy away from the truth of her story, the good, the bad, the ugly, the learning. She really packs it all in there. So many takeaway messages. The takeaway messages of humble beginnings, the takeaway message of not making assumptions on people, the takeaway message that you will find home again. She absolutely hit the mark. In terms of age group, the recommended age group is 4 years old and up. If you want your child to truly understand the story, I would start at 5. I feel like this is a good book to start the conversation at 5 years old. Addie is 7 years old, and we were able to have a really robust conversation around it. But I feel like for children who are neurotypical, if your child is neurodivergent, if they communicate in alternate ways, that might be a little bit different. But for neurotypical children who have been exposed to literature in schooling, I would say that you can start to have a really honest and open conversation starting at around 5 years old. The things that I think were done really well, one, I had already said this, but I really appreciate the honesty of the story. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a Disney story. It is a very honest reflection of how we treat people from other countries, of experiences of refugees, and what that feels like from a child's perspective. How she shares her family's experiences. That is a glow. Another glow is the poetry of the story. So, she goes the docks, she goes the boat, all of these different almost chapters in this picture book, right, that she goes through. And the water. In the morning, my house in the sand is gone, but there are boats. The people in the boats wave at us to quickly get in. The layout of the story is one that each kind of section has a different chapter, and that chapter correlates with her experience of coming from her home to her new home of the United States. So she goes through everything from getting her visa, from kind of being at this rescue camp, from splitting with her friends, from hearing the sounds of bombs dropping. Each one of these are a different chapter, and each one of them are clearly shared. That is another glow for me. Another glow, because there are so many, have to be the pictures and how the pictures correlate with the story. And so I love art that is integrated to the words of the book, and that you will see on every page, like the layout and the details, the background details. There's like foreground, there's background, there's colors, but they fit in sync with the words on the page. And that is super important and crucial for all children, but even more so English language learners who are trying to grasp what the story is about, but might not fully understand English yet. It is extremely important for children who are neurodivergent, who are learning how to read. It's really important for children who are neurotypical, who are learning how to read. Images really help with reading comprehension. And for a story like this that is so layered, the pictures are an absolute added bonus to this book. So she's from Kashmir. She moves to Lahore, Pakistan, and it just it shows kind of her progression of getting here. I love that because I think that it is important, again, to drive home that this is real life. This experience is not unique to her, but it's probably unique to the person who is reading the book. And that bridge of this is a children's book, but this is really what happened, super impactful. And I appreciate the vulnerability. This couldn't have been an easy story to write, especially for children. The verbiage had to be one that children could understand. She did that. And I could imagine how many emotions came up when creating this story. And so, yeah, just shout out to honesty. You did a great job, mamas. Things that I think could have been done better. This is her life story, and she told it, and she told it well. When putting on the lens of a literacy specialist and somebody who is super invested in reading and the process of teaching children how to read, this book is long. It is long for children with a recommended audience of 4 years old. I believe that if you are going to keep the length, you should up who you recommend this book to, because this is not a story that I recommend splitting. When I say splitting, I mean sometimes you have children's books or books in general where you can read a few pages and then pick it up the next day and it'll be fine, no problem. This book is not that. This is a book that you pick up, you read thoroughly, you have conversations in between. It's not really a hanger book. It's not really a bookmark book, right? It is definitely a story you want to read cover to cover for so many reasons. One of them being how heavy some of these pages are and the conversations in that. And to not have to revisit it the next day, especially with children who are learning how to read, it would be good if you could finish it and then go into your discussion. So, with that said, the book is lengthy. There are a few ways to fix that. One, just changing the recommended age group, because then it's fine. If you're 8 years old reading this book and you're neurotypical, the length no longer counts the same. Two, having another version of the book that is a board book or a shorter version for children who are younger so that they can also get access to this information, because it is so hard to find. You do not see children's books like this, and working with refugee children and families, it's needed. It's a needed resource. The other, it's not even a grow, but it's definitely something that I feel like would have helped, is having a glossary, because there are so many things that you cover in this book, like the words refugee, like citizenship, explaining even the center you have to go to once you have come to America in order to learn the laws or the rules of this country. I believe a glossary would have been extremely beneficial for a book that is this educational. That said, this is amazing. The way that you told this story with so much truth and power and love and reflection and poetry, I am blown away. You have truly created something that has helped so many of my students, and I'm sure so many other people. This is a book that I recommend definitely in between pages discussing. Like for one of the sections, she talks about the dock and waiting at the dock and just having the conversation of empathy, right? How do you understand what she was feeling? What would that be like for you? Can you imagine leaving your home? I think as we talk about immigration, and there's so many negative things around immigrants and around people coming in, and just a lot of negative talk, combating that with empathy and humanizing the people who are coming here is so crucial. It's critical, and it's important to have a resource and a story to be able to do so. And she's provided that. So as you go through page by page, I recommend you sharing yourself. There's a section where she's on the boat. During the night, the bright hot sun burns our face. I can taste the salt in the air. At night, the wind makes us shiver. So we huddle together to stay warm. And even in reading a page like that with your child, you can talk about like what it would be like being on this boat. And if you had an opportunity to help her, would you? Like really link her situation to what is going on in our country in regards to immigration, in regards to policy before people. Use this as a bridge to be able to do so, and lead the discussion. Allow space for your child to speak, ask questions, be inquisitive. And really, it's just one of those stories that helps children who are not from those backgrounds get a better sense of what that could mean or look like. And the other powerful piece as well is your children are going to school with immigrants. So whether they have the lens of friendship and welcome or the lens of hatred and push away heavily depends on where they're getting their information from. Okay. So at the end of this week on Friday, we have the Teacher Lady Speaks episode, just a quick detour. And in that episode, we go into immigration. It is a crash course on how to teach your students or your children about immigration and citizenship. But in there, you will hear me say that you are going to have to humanize the people that the media is currently demonizing, okay? That they're currently looking at with this lens of disdain, of inconvenience. This book helps us to be able to do so. Who this book is for, baby? This book is for refugee students. This book is for students from other countries. This book is for immigrants. This book is for children who are not immigrants, who are born and live in the United States, who need to be exposed to one version of an immigrant, who need to have a humanitarian lens and approach to immigration. This is a staple book. At this point, if you have been watching my shows, you know what a staple book is. A staple book is a book that belongs in your library, that all the other books can surround themselves around it. It is a staple book because it gives a perspective of her childhood, which is so vastly different from what most of us can imagine. Okay. And so it's needed. So literally, if you're young, if you're old, if you have younger children or older children, if you love picture books, I highly recommend this story. And I'm so grateful that we got to share it today. Thank you for learning with me. Thank you for reading with me. Thank you for growing with me. These episodes and these weeks and these topics have been so precious, and the feedback has been amazing. And hey, we have started the ball rolling on education. So make sure to check out the Read Aloud on the Teacher Lady Reads playlist. On Friday, we have the Teacher Lady Speaks, which is a crash course in teaching your child about immigration. And for the first time, we have a 2-part on this topic. So make sure that you check me out. Make sure that you are subscribed and locked in so you never miss an episode, because baby, we be teaching. And to the artist, to the author, thank you for your share. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for honesty. Thank you for brilliance. Before we close out, I want to take a minute to tell you about the Empathy Library, a book initiative that allows us to get children's books just like this one to children who need them, free of charge to them. So it's simple. You go on the website, you donate what you can. That money gets put towards the purchase of books. And then those books go to different community centers, schools, after school programs, home libraries. They get given to children who need them. If you are in need of books, because you're a community leader or what have you, you can go on the website to sign up to receive books. Lastly, remember to enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye.